Time to dig into those weeds now of Jay Powell's appointment as chair of the Fed. I bring you now Peter Schiff, CEO of Euro Pacific Capital. Big news today. What can you tell us about Powell? What might we expect? And I want to get your opinion on him.
Well, it's just more of the same. But, you know, Powell embodies everything that candidate Trump criticized when he ran for office. You know, he was very critical of Janet Yellen. She was acting politically. She was keeping interest rates artificially low. She was doing political stuff. She was trying to prop up the stock market. She was trying to make things look better for Barack Obama, to make it easier for Hillary Clinton to win. And his criticism was right on point. I mean, he was exactly right about what the Fed was doing. But now, instead of taking the opportunity to change the Fed, he has simply reappointed or nominated somebody who is going to continue the very policies that he criticized when he was running for president. And Powell is going to be just as political as Yellen, except now the beneficiary is going to be Trump instead of Obama.
Okay, well, I mean, I think a lot of people expect that they're going to be very political. It's a political position. But this is the first non-economist to lead the Fed in a long time. Is there any value in that? You say he's not experienced with the Fed, but you can still be plenty experienced with the Fed and not, you know, be the chair.
Well, the economic education that Bernanke and Yellen had didn't do them any good. I mean, you know, so they didn't really learn anything about real economics. They learned a bunch of Keynesian nonsense. So, yeah, clearly you don't need a PhD in economics to chair the Fed. But the problem is, I think that Powell is still going to share the same type of philosophy that his predecessors had, which is wrong. Now, he is a Republican, so he is more inclined to try to help Donald Trump get reelected. And so I think he's going to be there with the monetary spigots. I think he's going to cut interest rates if the market starts to go down. I think he'll be very quick on the trigger when it comes to QE4. And that's exactly what Trump wants. But that's not what his voters wanted. This is not going to help Trump's voters. People who voted for him, the middle class who thought they were voting for change, they're going to get more of the same. And the policies that are going to be pursued by a Powell Fed will continue to undermine the living standards of the middle class. It will erode away the value of the dollar, and it will continue to misdirect resources from Main Street to speculation on Wall Street. It is going to continue the policies that resulted in Trump's election, but it may make sure that he doesn't get reelected.
Okay, well, let's talk about John Taylor. Might have been his pick. A lot of people were speculating. He was favored by conservatives. What would your opinion have been on him being selected as chair?
Well, he wasn't as bad. I would have taken John Allison. Of all the people that he interviewed, John Allison was the best by far. And so if he would have gone in that direction, that would have been a change. That would have been learning from the mistakes of the past and taking the Fed in a new direction. Taylor, you know, would have been better than Powell, but, you know, Taylor was already trying to, you know, get his mind right. I was reading stuff where, well, you know, the Taylor rule isn't really a rule. It's kind of a suggestion. And so he was kind of backpedaling, trying to get the job. But at the end of the day, Trump didn't want to take a chance on a wild card. He wanted to go with a sure thing. And I think Powell is that. I think he's going to be exactly what Trump wants, a yes man at the Fed that's going to be part of the Trump administration and kind of do what he's told.
Okay, well, let's look into the future about the bench at the Board of Governors. Who do you think might fit on that?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, as far as how they're going to change those deck chairs around, I mean, I think it really doesn't matter, because once you pick the Fed chairman, that's pretty much the direction that we're going in. And it's a continuation of more of the same. Money printing, artificially low interest rates, bubble blowing, you know, a belief in Keynesianism and monetary stimulus. And, you know, these are not sound money people that believe in hard money. You know, when Trump was a candidate, he was talking about the gold standard. I mean, these guys want nothing to do with a gold standard.
Powell says this of cryptocurrencies. I do want to get your opinion on this. Maybe it's just a personal interest of mine, but he does say, I would say I'm very cautious on the idea of a Fed digital currency. That's something central banks are generally looking at, but I would say my approach to that would be very, very cautious. Do you think the Fed is going to have to take a hard look at how cryptocurrencies are changing?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it depends. You know, a lot of the U.S. money is already digital. I mean, most of the money that we deal with, we don't actually have paper bills, right? It's all digital entries, you know, on a bank account. So a lot of the money is already digital if it's not crypto. But I do think that governments, you know, if the U.S. government wants to keep better track of American citizens, it may decide to try to replace cash, physical cash, with a crypto version of the dollar. I hope we don't go in that direction, because that's simply more government control over the population, and that takes away our freedoms. But I do see people embracing cryptocurrencies. I mean, some people are doing it because they want to get rich, because the price keeps going up and people are jumping on a bandwagon, even if they don't understand the music. But there is an underlying buyer of cryptocurrencies who is buying because they are looking for an alternative to the failed product being issued by central banks, whether they're dollars, euros, yen. You have people looking for an alternative to fiat currencies. Now, you know, unfortunately, they're buying fiat digital currencies, but, you know, they're probably better than the ones that the central banks are issuing. And it just shows you how bad the central bank currencies are. But ultimately, of course, you know, we could be having a huge bubble here in these cryptocurrencies. I think the real deal is gold. I think gold money is going to be ultimately what wins out. And maybe it could be in a crypto form, in that you can transfer your ownership of gold digitally, which would satisfy a lot of the utility that people who are looking for cryptocurrencies are looking for, but with the stability of a real commodity that you're dealing in, and not just something that exists just in hyperspace, but has no intrinsic value other than the fact that you can give it to somebody else.
Right. It's a conversation that is ongoing. Everyone's got their ideas about it, especially since the value hit over 7,000 today. Thank you so much for weighing in on this, Mr. Gold. Peter Schiff, CEO of Euro Pacific Capital. Thank you.